The film begins 30 years earlier with a young Jack O'Malley at a family Christmas gathering. He invites his cousins upstairs to show them that their gifts came from their parents, not Santa Claus. Jack's Uncle Rick comes upstairs to chastise him for his actions. In the present, Jack is an expert tracker. He sneaks by security at a mall by creating a distraction, setting fire to a Christmas tree, before entering and placing a device. For extra dickishness, he literally grabs candy from a baby. At the mall, Santa, aka Red One, is performing his annual show with his top bodyguard, Callum Drift, the chief of the ELF at the North Pole. He glances around the mall and is shocked by the holiday shoppers' greedy and arrogant behavior. Callum dismisses an annoying wannabe influencer who disrupts a family's meeting with Santa, intimidating him enough to back down. Everyone seems to know who the real Santa is, but Callum takes his job extremely seriously and will go to any cost to protect him. In his apartment, Jack speaks with his unknown employer. They pay him half of what they offered him, promising to give him the remainder after they've found out who they needed Jack to pursue. Callum and Santa return to the North Pole, which is hidden by a magical force field. They greet Mrs. Claus first, then Callum and Santa have a conversation. Cal informs Santa that he intends to leave from his position owing to his dissatisfaction with the holidays. Santa tries to tell him that it's still worthwhile. Soon, a group of mercenaries bursts through the force field, and Callum spots the lights in Santa's tower flickering. He investigates and arrives at Santa's room to discover that he is missing. Callum notices the offenders and takes chase across the North Pole by utilizing a snowmobile, but he is unable to catch up to them before they get away with Santa. The North Pole is approached by Zoe Harlow, director of MORA, the Mythological Oversight and Restoration Authority, once she learns of what has happened. Zoe informs Callum that they must locate an excellent tracker known as the Wolf because they only have 24 hours till Christmas Eve. Jack gets approached by his ex Olivia because his kid Dylan has gotten into trouble at school. He attempted to hack into the school's PA system and got caught when a friend snitched on him. Jack chastises Dylan not for committing the crime, but for doing it poorly. Dylan explains that he has a concert that evening and doesn't mind if Jack shows up. Jack has some misgivings about being an absent father. When Jack returns to his apartment, he is met by a group of North Pole mercenaries. He fights them inside his house until Zoe neutralizes him and transports him back to the North Pole. Callum and Garcia, a big polar bear bodyguard, confront Jack because he is a level 4 naughty lister. Jack adds that someone paid him to undertake the tracing, but he had no idea what the assignment was or who was being tracked. He discovers that Santa has been kidnapped, which he thinks absurd, but Zoe informs him that all of the fabled creatures that were apparently imaginary are, in reality, real. They see the Headless Horseman arrive, for example. Santa wakes up in a cell and meets his captor, a young woman. She connects Santa to a machine that uses his energy to fuel her weapon, a magical snow globe prison known as a Glaskafig. Callum and Jack reluctantly join forces to rescue Santa and save Christmas. They begin by passing through a portal in a toy store and expanding a toy automobile into their vehicle. They travel to Aruba, where they meet Ted, the man who arranged the agreement between Jack and the villain. After Callum shrinks and grows to combat Ted's goons, they face him and discover that the culprit is Grilla, the Christmas witch. After Jack mistakenly says her name, Gryla can hear it, she uses Ted to confront Callum and threatens to punish everyone on Santa's naughty list. Moments afterward, an ice cream truck appears from the ocean. 3 giant, monstrous snowmen emerge and pursue Jack and Callum. The two attempt to battle them, but they keep reassembling themselves. Callum removes the carrot nose from the first one, destroying it. Jack tosses a propane tank onto an open grill and throws a bottle of vodka, causing an explosion that destroys the second. Before the third one can imprison Jack in a freezing pool, Callum removes his nose as well. Zoe meets with the guys, and Callum suggests that Santa's estranged brother is working with Grilla, and that Mora does not have the authority to enter the brother's lair. But Callum and Jack will go in secret. Grilla tries out the Glaskafig on a jerk called Aaron Abel, who is given the globe and becomes trapped inside when he touches it. However, when the globe does not return to her, Gryla grows dissatisfied and decides to change her intentions. Olivia calls Jack and accuses him for not intending on attending Dylan's concert. Jack then talks about Dylan with Callum, admitting that he was not always the best father to the youngster. They arrive at the lair of Santa's brother, Krampus. When Jack attempts to steal a chunk of gold from Krampus's lair, he inadvertently alerts him and his thugs to their location. They are imprisoned before being sent to see Krampus. Callum tries to explain the issue to Krampus, telling him that his sibling needs him. Krampus doesn't care and intends to keep Callum imprisoned until Jack dares Krampus to a Krampus slap with Callum, which entails facing a violent slap from Krampus. Callum keeps trying to appeal to Krampus's better nature, but Krampus only strikes Callum so hard that he flies. Before Callum leaves again, Jack activates an arm brace on him, allowing him to deliver a massive smack on Krampus while Jack and Callum flee. Callum praises Jack for his brilliant idea. When the two return to their car, they discover a package from Gryla addressed to Jack, but he refuses to open it. Jack then receives a video call from Dylan, who is upset that he did not attend the concert and was left with his own parcel containing the Glaskafig. Dylan touches it and is teleported. Jack has no choice but to grab his own globe and follow Dylan, while Callum must go find them. Jack and Dylan wind up at Gryla's lair, where she gloats about how well the Glaskafigs function. Following their departure, Jack apologizes to Dylan for being a lousy father. Dylan forgives Jack, and Jack's capacity to enhance his naughty status allows them to mature and break free from the globes. Zoe had placed a tracker on Jack earlier, so Callum discovers that him and Dylan are at the North Pole, indicating that Gryla never removed Santa from there. Furthermore, they discover that Gryla's shapeshifters have taken over the North Pole and are disguised as Mrs. Claus and other guardians. Callum locates Jack and Dylan, and they join Zoe in realizing that Gryla intends to employ Santa to operate his sleigh so that she can deliver globes all across the world and imprison anybody she considers wicked. Following the release of Mrs. Claus, Garcia, and others, the heroes race to stop her. Gryla begins her journey out of the North Pole, but Callum and Jack catch up with the sleigh. They fight as they cross a ramp, and Jack manages to free the reindeer from the sleigh, forcing it to stop flying and knock Gryla off the edge. Callum attempts to awaken Santa, but Gryla re-emerges as a massive and horrible ogre. She prepared to assault the heroes when Krampus appears in his own sleigh and offers his assistance. Krampus fights back, but Gryla throws him around. Santa regains consciousness and orders his reindeer to attack Gryla, hitting her in the air until she falls into her mound of globes, thus locking her inside one. Everyone scrambles to get Santa ready for his duties. Callum, Jack, and Dylan accompany him as they travel the world, witnessing Santa deliver gifts and bringing joy to children worldwide. Callum watches Jack and Dylan bond, and for a brief moment, he sees Jack's inner kid. This is enough for Santa to notice that Callum has changed his mind about retiring. Santa then flies them home.